Like the pool care guys, for example, in our industry have the robots. So how do you sort of see it in the future?
It's interesting. I was a naysayer. I was one of those, oh, they're going to take our jobs. But honestly, like the way we've implemented is it's only going at sites where we have full-time operators at. It just means that we can do high quality gardening when this little robot's taking care of a bunch of the mowing. So it just makes sense to us that specialty clients that want this area to look 100% all the time, it's just a no-brainer to put a robot mower.
So BJ, thanks for coming on. We normally don't have people outside Jim's franchisees and franchisors, so it's great to be able to have someone from outside our sort of family, but who's massive in the industry. You've obviously got a really well-known podcast, which you've Lawn Care Scale Sessions, which you've renamed. I think it's the Into the Green podcast now, which you're doing. And a lot of our franchisees listen to that. And that's why Mitch, one of our franchisees, said reach out to BJ to get you on to talk about your event that you're putting on, which I think is going to be awesome for the franchisees to get along to. So first of all, BJ, welcome. And can you just tell us a little bit about the event that you're putting on?
Mate, thank you so much for reaching out. Yeah, look, this all came about from the kindness of lawn care enthusiasts like the Jim's guys, independents, everyone got together. We had some tragedy strike. My daughter passed away and it just like the community just got around us and it all started with one little thing to give back and keep my head busy. I decided to throw on like a little meet and greet and it turned out to be 800 contractors deep, $30,000 worth of prizes given away on the day. $15,000 went to the Red Kite Foundation and the Lawn Land Expo was born. So you know, this has all come from lawn mowing contractors just being the people they are, being an amazing community and just rallying behind me. And that sort of inspired me to go on with the expo. But yeah, this year's expo, we're doing one. We did 3 last year and it nearly killed us. 3 shows over 9 weeks. As fun as it was, the amount of time and effort that goes into it is just astronomical. So we went for 1 show this year, 1 show only, and we're going for Melbourne this year because that was our biggest show. And it's being held at Caribbean Park where it was last year, 23rd of August. It is, we were going to say it's double the size, but we've got over 80 brands coming now. So it's quadrupled in size. Like even last night we got DeWalt, they gave me a call. They're like, hey, bring in the container. So make a bit of space next to the Stanley Black & Decker site for us. So I was like, yep, sweet. So yeah, we're just, we're kicking goals this year. So this is our credibility year. Make sure everyone has a good time. We've got a mechanical ball. We've got prizes to give away. We're giving away a 0 turn. But yeah, 23rd of August, it's 10 till 3. So it's not a huge day because we know, you know, a lot of these reps and a lot of these brands are bringing people, they're off the books, like they're off the clock. So it's not a long day, but then we've got the networking night at 5 o'clock at the Hyatt. That's literally 5 minutes from the expo site. So yeah, we're trying to cover all bases and have one big massive fun day. Yeah, I'm truly excited. It's like a month away. It just, yeah, it's lining up to be an awesome show. I've got people like Shane from Lawn Culture Australia. He's actually released a green pass. He does giveaways every month. He's just released a green pass, so everyone can get a free ticket into that. And then, yeah, we're going to be giving away some Greenworks stuff on the day, some stuff from Cenix, Ego. Yeah, but like there's just too much stuff to name. It's crazy. And again, we're going to be supporting Heart Kids Australia this year.
Yeah, it's a great cause. And we're going to put this on the screen. So as you're speaking, Charles, my video guy, you can flash up everything. So I'm looking at all the suppliers here. It's amazing how many you've got. Like I'm just looking at the logos here, you know, Greenworks, Skag. It is huge. Like it just, there's so much on there. It's amazing.
I'm so lucky. Like I'm in line with Bushranger Australia and Skag, but the brands like Ego, Bushranger that are our platinum sponsors, they're just 2 amazing brands that have looked after us from the conception. Same with Skag, Greenworks have been there, SME, Cenix, new kids on the block. And they called me one day and I was in the middle of mowing a soccer field. Yeah, I got the call and they were just like, hey, we want to come. We want a big site and we also want to give you a 42-inch hybrid 0 turn to give away on the day. And I was like, what is going on? I tried to call my wife. All I could think to do was just do a video and put it on LMCA, one of our local contractor group. Well, it's not local, it's like an Australia-wide group. And I was just so excited because, you know, it's one of those things I take pleasure out of giving things away. So yeah, it's going to be a fun day.
Well, it sounds like if you rock up as a lawn mowing contractor, you're bound to get something or you've got a fairly good chance of winning something significant. So yeah, absolute no-brainer to get along there as well. And Is there any other stands there or suppliers that you might be thinking of interest outside of, let's say, the equipment? Is there any sort of new technology sort of supplier or?
Yeah, like FJ Dynamics, we've got Molmation, like all the robotics is coming. Yeah, we've got a bunch of robotics, which is something that I've implemented in my business. Segway will be there. Yeah, there's a
Segway, the stand up,
Segway had a robotic mower as well. So that so that's distributed by RGS. And I actually have one that takes care of some stuff at one of my villages, and I'm going to bring it home and put it back in my front yard because come summertime, I'm not going to have time to mow it.
So how do you implement that in your business? Just as a side note, with as you said, you got a couple of clients, you leave them there, or how do you?
Yeah. So with I know a lot of people implement them. Just they'll set a robot up at someone's property. My little one takes care of 1,500 square meters. So I've implemented it at a community center. So it takes care of all the grass, so it's looking schmick all the time. And the boys just have to worry about whippersniffing, and that's it.
How do you see it increasing in, like, do you see it becoming more prevalent as it gets better, or how do you see businesses, like, was it just going to think you sort of adapt? And like the pool care guys, for example, in our industry they had the robots, which back in the past they've gone, but on a robot's going to take us out of business, whereas it's just the mouse complement for their business now. So how do you sort of see it in the future?
It's interesting. I was a naysayer. I was one of those, they're going to take our jobs. But honestly, like the way we've implemented is it's only going at sites where we have full-time operators at. It just means that we can do high quality gardening when this little robot's taking care of a bunch of the mowing. So it just makes sense to us that specialty clients that want, this area to look 100% all the time, it's just a no-brainer to put a robot mower. And like the Segway is super easy to set up. It's like playing a video game. You just follow it around and drive it, stay 15 centimeters off the edge of anything, then you load your map and it's done. It just does its thing. And yeah, you never have to worry about it.
That'd be a great thing for everyone to get along and check. And I was going to say, is there anything else from a technology point of view that maybe excites you from knowing what these suppliers are bringing?
Technology. Oh, look, there's
also be anything in general, like anything maybe.
So look, I don't know for sure, but there's a lot of brands. I had Baz from Ego last night on the podcast. It dropped yesterday, so the night before. And he's hinting that they're going to bring some of their battery standers.
Battery standers they're doing?
Yeah. Okay. I was lucky enough to get to the GIE last year over in Louisville, Kentucky, and I got to see them in person. They're in testing here. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they bring along. But I think, the likes of Greenworks, Skag, definitely Bush Ranger, like they all have new stuff coming out. And it just happens to be around the same time as our show. And it happened the same last year as well. There was a lot of new releases. So I'm not privy to it because sometimes I don't want to know because, I'm doing a podcast and, content is king. So if I can release things first, like I kind of like get a bit jittery and maybe I'll blurt it out. So I'm kind of like, I understand if it's private, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's cool. Keep it to yourself.
It should be awesome for the boys to get along. So I don't think we're doing a Jim's Trade Day this year, so we don't have the staff to do it. So I think getting along to yours is a no-brainer for our Jim's Mowing guys. And hopefully anyone in Victoria who's around the area and even from the regional areas can come up for the day. It just sounds like an absolute, going to be a great event. And there's just a mountain of supplies for lawn mowing contractors, which is something that's going to be awesome for them to see. And also the one I noticed, which is Luke's new app, is it Moco?
Moco,
the quoting app, right?
So last year we actually had a few CRM software companies come through, but they were really timid this year. And I'm like, it is going to be twice as big. But, look, we have hustled so hard. Luke's a big supporter. Like, I talk to Luke pretty often and obviously his podcast is going crazy. And it made sense. I was like, come on, man, you got to come across. I know it's a big flight, but you've done it before. Do it again.
And with on a side note, you got your new podcast now, so you're going to talk about that because you had the pretty big one, which the guys would know, which would be the previous one. Lawn Care Skull Sessions.
Lawn Care Skull Sessions was our previous one.
Yeah,
Benny from Catch Pro, God bless him. He's just too busy, and he genuinely is so busy. This guy's gone from having a small business to quite a large business, and he loves that it's he still runs it out of his house, so it's a family business. His wife, and it's very similar to what my wife and I do. So it just got too hard for us to get together. So with his blessing, I started Into the Green podcast, and yeah, I love it. Like, you can't tell I'm not shy to have a chat. And some of the people, like I had Clint Adam's on from Lawn Hub, and we had we were both sick as dogs, but we had a 2.5 hour conversation. Andy from Leaf by Leaf had a 3 hour conversation with him. I'm not much for an interview style podcast. Like I've got, even today, like I've got nothing written down really.
No, neither do I, don't worry.
Except for my quote over here. But yeah, I love talking to people, and I think, what better way to learn how to, change my business for the better than to talk to people who are doing it all around the country.
Well, you're listening to Jim's Mowing franchisees and this, and actually people who think about doing a franchise or doing lawn care as an industry. So I'll ask you a couple of questions around that, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Someone looking into getting into the lawn care industry, a lot of people listen to the podcast who are from the corporate world, or they're just sick of what they're doing. A lot of time they'll consume the Jim's podcast, right? They'll hear from franchisees. But as someone who's an independent, what should they sort of know about before coming into the industry, or some things to maybe consider that they might not know about as a corporate person or someone who's outside of it?
I think, and look, I've spoken to like lots of gyms people, especially around COVID, that potentially lost office jobs and jumped into a gyms, and they loved it. And it was really good for them. Look, to be honest, I think diversification during winter is a big thing, because I don't think with the structure that gyms has, you'd never have to worry about your leads and building that clientele. But then when winter comes around, as I know, and everyone else in the industry knows, is it can just shut down, and you really have to be on your toes, be on your game, just diversify. So take up extra things like pressure cleaning, all that sort of stuff. As a newbie, that's one of the things, diversification during winter, because it can last a lot longer than people expect. And the other thing is with equipment. Lots of people say don't overcapitalize, but I'm of the opinion, don't be afraid to finance a machine that may boost your revenue. Ben from Catch Pro was actually someone who told me when I first started, if you buy the machine, the work will come, and it's never failed. So I bought my first zero turn quite quickly in my business, and I just started leveling up work really quickly. And then I could move into big villages because I could cover lots of ground. And then now we've got 261 zero turns, we've got a 48, we've got a 32. Luckily, the curtains are shut behind me, or you'd see like 12 or 15 push mowers out there ready to get serviced. Like I've just got a plethora. I've got pressure cleaners. My wife, this is a shared office, but it's dressed up for her because this is her safe space away from all the equipment. But yeah, that's one thing. Like, don't be afraid of finance. Do your due diligence and make sure that it's viable. But if you want to step it up, I really think like getting into zero turn mowing and stuff like that is a really good way to do it. And yeah, it's pretty simple. Like, it's a pretty simple business. Don't be afraid of no as well, because if you don't ask, you don't know. I've been rejected a million times. Like, I still have a client list. Well, they're not clients, but it's a list of all the villages in like a 20K radius. I ring them once a year and just touch base with them. I'm probably being a pest, but again, they're going to say no. And I always make sure I say, all right, I'll call you in a year, or I'll call you in 6 months or whatever. But yeah, I just think you gotta chase the opportunities.
Yeah, it's a great bit of advice. And what you said about the buying the equipment's a good one. I've interviewed a few franchisees, and especially the Queensland guys, and they say get a walker, or get a Skag, or it'll pay for itself very quickly, and away you go. So it's a good bit of advice there as well, because you're right. A lot of people say the same thing to our new franchisees coming. You don't want to spend too much on equipment, and then down you go. So it's good to hear that from someone who's not a Jim's franchisee. And I was going to say as well, then learning. So a lot of new guys who come in from the corporate world, they're sort of thrown into it. Like, what resources helped you early on? Like, was there any YouTube channels, or was there anything you could recommend from a learning perspective for people?
To be honest, and it probably rings true to the first question you put to me as well, but networking is something that you guys have it when you become a gyms. I mean, you guys have got your network already sussed. If someone's having a problem, you just go to them, or if someone has a question, you have that there. For me, I had Ben. He was in the game for about 10 years before me, and then he introduced me to Landscaper, and then a guy that owns another franchise up here in Brisbane, and then it just started rolling on. Talk to guys at the dump, just handing out cards and just networking. And I mean, we've done our spray tickets and chainsaw tickets. Those things are always good to have. Something that we focus on in our business, I don't know how many other businesses do, but We focused a lot on like systems for health and safety. We're CM3 certified. So that means we can, up here in Brisbane, we can hit Westfields, any Lavande sites, like any of those job sites. It does cost money, but it's also really handy because you do up all your systems and all your check sheets, your toolbox meeting sheets, and then you send it to an independent. They check it off, make sure it's all up to code, and then they give it back to you. It's a small fee. It's around $800, and you got peace of mind that all your procedures are sorted and you don't have to worry about it.
That's some great advice. And how big is your business, BJ? I should have asked you. How many people do you employ?
So we have, including my wife, because she does all the admin, like I said earlier, she's the brains. So there's 5 of us now. So we did have 6. Actually, he's now working for a Jim's franchise in Bathurst.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, shout out to Fred. He rang me one day, probably about 12, 13 months ago, asking if I knew anyone with some full-time work up here in Brisbane. And I said, oh, sorry, mate, I don't. And things happen for a reason. My staff member about 15, 20 minutes later called me and said, hey, mate, I've just broken my tibia and my fibia playing union. I think I'm going to be off work for a bit. So I was in the middle of my daughter's dance concert. So I just ran out the door, rang Fred back, and I said, mate, it's on. Come up here. And he's just gone back down to Bathurst. And now he's on with a Jim's guy down there.
There you go. I was going to say, so do you have any advice around employing? Because employing people for our franchisees is always a challenge, and it can be for, I guess, independents as well. So your team of 4 or 5, and you obviously got to manage a team and do that. Is there any sort of strategies or advice for, let's say, the sole trader in Jim's or as an independent in terms of finding that first employee and then trying to scale up to a couple more?
Yeah. Okay. So first employee is pretty easy because if you're not willing to sit next to this person for 6 hours in a truck, they're not the right person for you. No matter how hard they work, you'll grind and you'll grind and you'll grind, and then you'll eventually pop because, I don't know, personality for me is a huge part of this business. Like, I don't mind how hard I work. Obviously, it's my business and no one's going to work as hard in your business as you do. But advice, like obviously networking again, because that's where a lot of my staff have come through. Local pages. It's hard to vet people through an interview process. At the networking night, that's something Clint from Lawn Hub, speaking to him on my podcast, he said that with Lawn Hub, he has 0 issues with hiring staff. He has like 1,000 applications when they put up a job. I'm so jealous because I put an ad up on Seek, cost me a couple of $100. I get 70 applicants and 69 of those are people just ticking and flicking their dole form. Making your business desirable, like making it look like the place to work, I think is another thing. Gyms guys, I think you guys have a little bit of advantage because you have the gym's backing. So when people see it, they're like, oh, I'm working for gyms. But when, people are working for TBL property maintenance, there's only a handful of people who actually know who that is.
Yeah, I think Lawn Hub, because they do so much content. The content in a way sort of gives people be a fan of the brand and they sort of bring themselves into it. So franchisees with us are a little bit lucky as well because we do so much content for the Jim's Mowing brand, and they get we get all day. We're just flat out with asking for jobs and stuff, so it's a little bit easier. I can imagine it'd be a bit of a struggle sometimes for from independents.
Yeah, it is. I've hired and fired a lot of people. I have to admit, it is something that's very hard. I have a really good team right now, and they all want to work. They all want to earn money. It's hard, and I don't want to say I target a type of person because I've got a guy who's just turned 18. I've got a guy who's 25. They both had no kids. And then I've got one guy who's my leading hand. He's got 2 kids and he's 27. So I have a mix and they all come with their different, I don't know how to explain it, but they're all different in a good way. So they all complement each other. So yeah, I think it comes back to if you wouldn't sit in the truck with them for 6 hours and you couldn't have good conversation, it's not going to work.
Do you think that's the number one thing that stops just, franchisees, I guess businesses like yourself just from scaling is just being able to find a consistently bunch of good people and a lot easier than what you have to do?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. I spoke to 2 different contractors today because my life, half of it's spent on the phone. 2 different people today told me that in the last 3 days, they've both fired a person.
Jeez.
And it's purely because they either weren't turning up to work, had ridiculous excuses. And the best one being today was, I've got runny eyes. So It was the last straw. I've got runny eyes, and yeah, he said this is the last straw. So that was a good one. But yeah, you gotta wonder sometimes with some of the excuses that come across the desk. All right, so the best one that I've ever had. Got my first village, amazing. 2 days a week, full time. Set the rest of my business up, and I had this guy, and he was a really good worker. He disappeared for a week. Like I couldn't get him. Like I only needed him those 2 days, but I could not get him. And then the next week, he wasn't in on Monday, and like I'm just messaging him, like I can't keep doing this, man. He rang me on the next day. He's like, I'm on my way in. I was like, awesome. Where have you been? He told me he went to Nimbin to trim buds because he'd earn more money. And, and I said, don't worry about coming in. You're done. So
that's a budding horticulturist where people want to work but
I mean, yeah, I was shook. That one was a good one. In previous jobs I've had, yeah, I used to work in transport and logistics, and one of the best ones I got on the answering machine was I hit a pothole on my skateboard on my way to work. We worked night shift, and he couldn't come in because he hit a pothole on his skateboard. So,
yeah, there's a lot of different stuff. I was going to say as well, then BJ, with the industry moving forward, obviously there's a lot of different apps and technologies coming into that. So where do you see the industry maybe the next, let's say, 5 years? Where it's sort of heading? How do you see it's going to start moving? Because I think AI, this sort of thing, you're going to have a lot more people maybe getting out of the office and maybe trying their hand at home services over the next, maybe 5 to 10 years. So where do you sort of see everything going in the future?
AI terrifies me. I've been watching some videos about AI doing cold calls.
Yeah. AI just like GenSpark. Yep.
Yeah, like doing, doing the things that, to be honest, I don't really enjoy that much. And I'm like, well, because it's like a dual business. Like my wife, there's a lot of things that she loves to do, and there's a lot of things that she doesn't love to do. I'm like, how about we start implementing some apps, or, like there's Sortscape, there's ServiceMate, lead services like you guys have got the Jim's lead service. There's Lawn Cures. There's so many that are out there now that, yeah, but AI, man, it's kind of scary. Like you see all the robotics stuff starting, and then you've got your bigger guys coming out with bigger machines, like FJ Dynamics, Colebrook Industries, even the Green Z system on the right. It's like a 72-inch machine that AI is it's all mapping and stuff like that. It's going to be pretty gnarly, but I think definitely like looking into apps. I know Luke's doing really well with MoQuote. I'd love to have a look at it. I don't know how well it'd work in our business because we do massive sites. I just think it just would be lost on us. So we have guys that are situated at sites. We have maybe like 25 jobs for the amount of staff that we have. So it's not as hard to schedule that sort of stuff and to quote it, for me anyway. But yeah, I think it's got a huge place. You guys bringing out a Jim's AI?
I do it a Gym AI, actually. We do have it on gyms.net. You can actually video chat with AI Gym Avatar. It's trained on all his content. Yeah, and it's 1.5 million words of all his Gym's content. And where people ask questions of it all the time, who actually franchisees, they might not be able to get in their franchisor, and they ask Jim the AI Jim the question, they get an answer. But where I actually interviewed a franchisee today in Mowing in Perth, and he did our training here, and we show them how to do, or you can use quotes. So you can take an image off a back corner of someone's house, for example. You can say, they might want a planter box there, or how would a veggie patch look to you? And you can take the picture of their back corner on ChatGPT and say, add a veggie patch or add a planter box, to the back corner, etc. Then within 1 minute, you get the image for it. And then they'll take that image and then attach it to a scope of works, which is done with the ChatGPT as well. That can do it for you, and you can put it for a quote. So that's sort of how we're doing it, using it at the moment in a quoting process. Some franchisees are doing that to help them just that extra 1 or 2% on a quote, where the customer can actually visually see what the mock-up will look like, as opposed to just them saying it's in their head. So that's been one way. And then we got Jim's Jobs, which is our sort of service app, and how we'll integrate with that will be another story. But I think the big opportunities from the quoting perspective. So in America, they have they're trying really hard with all, don't have, you can give a free estimate, or they call it estimates. Yeah. Obviously, from not having to go to the property to try and remove that one going to quote on site. Can you get all the information, all the accurate information? And there's things like, you send a customer a link and they access it and they go on their phone and walk around their property. And there's all these different things. So I think from the quoting perspective, my frustration is as just a customer here in Australia is having to wait for someone to come around and physically quote me, go away, then come back again. Whereas I just want it done in one transaction. So knowing how can we get that information from the customer where it's the person can actually really do the quote, externally, then come at one time is probably where I see how it comes into that, where it'd be with AR technology or something maybe. But that's sort of where I see it, just from that perspective.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been using AI all wrong. I just punch in a photo. I'm like, we put a dinosaur in the background, and
I know that's exactly similar with what our guys are doing, but it's just, exactly. But that's how you can use it as well. But that's what our franchisees have used it for. And I think it's only early days. Another year or two, it's going to be quite amazing to see what can happen. But it's definitely helping our franchisees win more jobs, which is the main thing.
That is the main thing. Quoting is, I think that's one of the hardest bits of the job to get used to. It took me a long time, and that in rejection, because when you're first starting out, like, you're not used to copping it on the chin all the time. So yeah, it's something you get over. I'm pretty loose now, so I've got a thick skin.
Well, I think that, you see, getting used to being rejected a few times, it's just once you get over that sort of hurdle, I think it's a really good thing to experience, I guess, in a way, because as you know, you might have to do 99 no's to get one yes, and that one yes could be a massive job or multiple jobs for you from that one yes. But a lot of people give up sometimes too early. And
use it to fuel the fire. Use it to fuel that fire of get on the hustle, get on the phone, go face to face. That's my biggest regret when I first started is I did avoid those those conversations where I knew like it was a 95% chance where it'd be a no. But just getting your name in front of someone is that's a huge part of what it's all about.
I think, absolutely. Like, it's a touch point, right? So, getting that name there, seeing you, then maybe they see you again somewhere and more inclined to come back. But I think that's a really key thing. Now, I was going to ask you a bit more other stuff, at least a couple more questions now, BJ, which is about there's obviously independence versus Jim's Mowing sort of thing sometimes. And I'm not a member of the LMCA, but I hear sometimes will send me a post and stuff on that. And I don't want to be a member of it, to be honest, to see this stuff sometimes. But I was just going to say, what's your thoughts on the whole thing? Obviously, people go independent, people do the Jim's Mowing route. What's your sort of perspective on the whole thing as an independent?
I think everybody's got a right to choose their own path. And I think it would be an easier path with a franchise, but then you're attached to a brand. I think for independents, it's a bit harder and it's a bit harder to kick off. But once you're rolling, once you're confident in your business, then it's all about what you want to make it. With gyms, I know that you guys have so many different avenues that people can take. But I think from my perspective, I think I like the freedom to do whatever I want. Some of the stuff I do, the podcast, I don't know how much Jim would enjoy my podcast.
You can do it. So I'd be approving it, so don't worry.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, but So there's a few things that people like Lawns by Leroy. He's a loose cannon in the industry. He does hilarious content, but he does that under his own banner. So
that is a big restriction. When franchising in Germany, you're right, there's a large restriction on social media and content. Whereas the big change for us recently has been, I'm the one sort of pushing for a little bit of heat. But I'm sort of like, franchisees can have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, because, if someone can go and we've got one franchisee who's got like 250,000 followers on Facebook. That's something he can generate for it. Was typical franchises, no, everything's under the main account. We have to approve everything. You can't do this and that. So it's sort of been a big change for us. And we're I think it's 2025. That's a main reason to be an independent is because you get that control. You can do your Instagram, you can do your social media. You have to worry about approvals or what you say. That's your business and your brand.
And now it's a lot different too. When I first started, there was probably bits and pieces on YouTube and little bits and pieces around the place. But now there's just information. Like, AI is probably going to, be able to give you more information today than I could have given you 10 years ago. So, it's one of those things that, the world is at people's feet now. They can literally jump online, ask a question and get a lot of good feedback.
Well, it's amazing. Like, it's just, who would have thought there's influencers like, you got Tim the Lawnmower Man, you got Nathan, you got all these guys, how the industry's got its own home service influencers now, which I think's quite amazing. And you got the big American channels with Mike Andes and things like that. So
yeah,
it's amazing how much content has sort of changed the business and also making people maybe think about this as a career as they might not have before.
Huge. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when I first started, there was Keith Kalfas and Brian from Brian's Lawn Maintenance was just starting. And now I've been to the US and I've met these guys, and like I'm hopefully going to have them on my podcast moving forward. But yeah, it's weird. It's like, I don't know. I think the gyms versus indie thing, or I don't think that's all sort of water under the bridge now. I don't hear as much as I used to. When I first started, it was only like people would say, "Oh, I waved to this gyms guy today and he didn't wave back." I'm like, "Oh." And I'm guilty of it. Like, and it's not just gyms guys. When someone drives past me and they're a lawn mowing contractor and I'm like, "Hey," and they don't wave back, I'm like, "Oh,
It annoys you. Well, the irony is the mowing newsletter used to be called Smile and Wave. So that's why so for the franchisees, they should be smiling and waving at everyone. So it's not.
I think everyone deserves. You can change someone's day with a smile. Working at assignment villages, having a 5-minute conversation with someone. Everyone talks about mental health and all that sort of stuff. I think like with retirement villages, I would always give someone 5 minutes of my time. It's not going to cost me a fortune, especially with the oldies. You might be the first and only person they talk to all week.
Yep.
Same with contractors, especially solo guys. I'll say guys and girls, so I don't get in trouble. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard road to walk by yourself. Unless you are like super introverted and you love that. You do all your extracurriculars outside. But yeah, I just really love the camaraderie of the whole industry. And I just think there's no beef. I don't think there's any real beef. Someone doesn't wave to me, whether they're an indie or a gyms. Yeah, or even the best thing is when you see someone come down the street and you're lining up for a wave and they're a builder. They've just got a box trailer and you're like, "Oh, sorry about that," and they're just like, "What are you doing, mate?"
So BJ, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Lawn and Land Expo, boys, Saturday 23rd of August 2025. I think it's 1280 Ferntree Gully Road. If you went last year, it's the same location in Scoresby, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we're going to have all the stuff on the screen with all the suppliers, just with the amount of logos in there. It's just like, it's a crazy collage of just overstimulation. So
that's not all of them. We've got to put more. So I don't know how we're going to do it. Yeah, we got more. So,
oh, wow.
So potentially Lawn Solutions is going up there, Coolabah Turf down Melbourne way. So there's more. So I don't know how we're going to fit them on, but who cares? It's going to be an awesome day.
And the networking event posts that as well, which is something that I think hopefully everyone can get along to. So, and obviously you got, your new podcast. I'm sure the boys already listened to it. So, make sure we'll put all the links in there in the description too. But please make sure if you're a franchisee, there's no trade show this year at gyms. So this is the one you need to get along to. And there's obviously going to be a lot of great prizes and great to network. And it's free. That's great. And
the networking night's $70 and it's 3.5 hours of drinks and canapes. Then it goes to Ash Bar.
Oh, jeez. You're losing money by not going. Yeah,
dude, 100%. It's crazy. You know what? Like I said at the start, this year's all about credibility, having a good time, getting everyone involved, and then we'll charge you $1 million next year.
Well done, BJ. Thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing how the show goes, and obviously socials, and hopefully our franchisees can get along and support it as much as possible. Anyone in Victoria hopefully can get along, even interstate. Please get along to it. And thank you again for your time, BJ. Great to meet someone from outside Jim's Mowing who's obviously really passionate about the industry. You obviously do. Our franchisees love your podcast, and I've had emails multiple times to get you on somehow. So this is a great reason to do it. So we appreciate your time and keep doing the great work that you're doing.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate your time as well.
No worries. Thanks, BJ. Thank you for listening to the episode of the More Than Just Mowing podcast by Jim's Mowing. If you do need help with your local gardening expert, please give us a call on 131 546 for Australia, 0800 454 654 for New Zealand, or head to jimsmowing.com.au or jimsmowing.co.nz. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to leave us a review as well, wherever you consume your podcast. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.